gamer.
Hello there, sports gamers. Welcome on into the channel. And today we have a special video for y'all as we have the newest MCS Major champion, the winner of Madden 22 or Madden 23's Ultimate Thanksgiving, the youngest MCS Major winner in MCS history. Dez is joining us today. Welcome on in, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So first, before we get into, your games in the tournament itself, I just want to talk about your experience with this actually being your first ever MCS major. What did it feel like when you realized you were going to be one of the 8 guys competing for that belt?
It's been a goal of mine. It's really since the past year to make one of these events. And when I won that last game, it was just like it was really the best feeling ever. And when I didn't really think it could top it until I really won the belt, it meant a lot making that top 8 for real.
Yeah, definitely. It must have been amazing. So how long have you been playing Madden at a competitive level trying to get to this point?
So I actually started at the start of quarantine. I was just bored around the house, so I started playing Madden a lot. Competitively, I really thought I started really getting good at the end of Madden 21. So I've really been playing competitively maybe 1.5 years now.
Wow, that's crazy. Playing for 1.5 years and already playing at this sort of level, making a major tournament like this. So let's get into the games that you actually played in this tournament. We'll start with the quarterfinal game against K-Mac. He was the 10 seed. You were the 20th seed. And that game started. You were able to hold him to a field goal on his first drive. And then you come back and you throw that pick 6, and immediately you're down 10-0. Does any sort of panic start to creep in at that point, being down early in your first major?
I actually think it was the opposite. I think that pick 6 really just got the nerves out of the way. I was really nervous going into the game. So once I took that pick 6, I was like, all right, I gotta lock in now. It's time to play. It's time to play Madden. And after that, I really dialed in, and I just settled in for real.
Yeah, you really did dial in. So you came back, rattled off 75 yards in 4 plays, and you were moving very effectively pretty much from there on out. Did you feel like it was important to score quickly following that pick 6 to sort of get things going?
I think it was because I also wanted to, make it. I didn't want to get him confident on defense. I didn't want a long drive to get it to a 3-point game at 10-7. I wanted to score quick so I could have him on his heels and make the pressure on him.
Yeah, and you were able to take a nice little lead there, 21-10, but then K-Mac was able to score, and he had the ball late looking to take the lead, and you got that big sack on him, and we saw you, jumping up and, saying, let's go. Like, how pumped were you when you got that sack and you knew you were moving on?
I was hyped. I was, it's really hard to get a stop in this year's Madden. So it's just like whenever you can get multiple stops in a game, that's when I really started to feel confident, especially in that last stop. I wasn't too happy because, the game wasn't over yet to get like a first down or two, but I really knew that was when the game was sealed.
Definitely. And you seem to be like one of the most entertaining people to watch uh in terms of watching your reactions and stuff. And then also I noticed when I was watching the streams that you had your earbuds in. Occasionally we'd hear you like singing or singing whatever music you were listening to. What sort of music do you like listening to when you're playing?
I just like to keep it simple, just listen to my own playlist. I listen to like all the mainstream rappers like Drake, Kanye West, all those guys. And those are really how I lock into when I play Madden.
Yeah, it's good music to try to focus in on something. So now you've moved on from quarterfinal and you have that week off between day 1 and day 2 of the Ultimate Thanksgiving. Was there anything that you did during that time to sort of get ready or maybe change things up gameplay wise?
I think leading up to the K-Mac game, I wasn't as prepared versus him. I was kind of like, oh, I was going to wing it. But in the second week of the tournament for Wesley, I knew I had to bring my A game. I knew I had to prepare. So I went back and watched all the film on him, and I was just so prepared for what he was going to do. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and it really paid off for real. Like, I was just so prepared what he was going to do offensively, and that really translates to my offense as well.
Yeah, you were definitely prepared. You come out and you're in the semifinals. Second play of the game, you get that tipped pick all of a sudden. And did that sort of like in the first game, getting the pick 6 that you threw, calming the nerves, did getting that pick yourself calm those nerves as well for the rest of the day?
Absolutely. It just when you can get a stop on your first drive, it's kind of like a sigh of relief. Like, okay, you got to stop now. Like it's just like especially in this year's Madden. I'll say it again, like it's just so hard to get a stop, and when you get it on the first play, first couple of plays, it really sets the tone and dials you in.
And so after you got the pick, you're able to thread the needle on a really tight pass to score. And I sort of noticed this trend watching the games back here since they finished. You seem to have no fear when you throw the ball. Like you are not afraid to throw it up there and trust your receiver to come down with it. What is it that you do that allows you to make such tight throws like that?
It's just the repetitions I get, and I think I'm just so confident in the reads that I make and the passes that I throw that like I've done it 1,000 times. It's no different when I play in the live event. I've done it a million times online. And I'm just confident that I can make that throw 10 times out of 10.
And then not only were you dominating offensively, defense was just amazing for you, especially in the first half of this game. You had three forced turnovers and a ton of pressure on the QB. What were you doing that you think allowed you to disrupt his offense so much?
Yeah, I mean, I think what really made let me disrupt him on offense a lot was again the film study. I had a plan for every what time he had really key tendencies that I could on every time he motioned out his receiver. I knew what play he was going to do. Every time he motioned him across, I knew what he was going to do. Every time that his quarterback typed his head, like I knew what he was going to do. It was just like so much little tendencies in this game that can really make the difference, and that's what it really ended up being.
Yeah, and so he was able to mount a little bit of a comeback there. He actually made it a 5 point game late in the game, and you have the ball 4th and 1 deep in your own territory with about a minute left. He still has all three of his timeout, and you decided to punt instead of trying to go for it on 4th and 1 there. What was your mindset there in that decision?
I think it's just the trust in my defense. Going back all the way to the K-Mac game and this game, I felt like I was so dominant on defense that like if he was gonna go down and score that quickly, I was just gonna tip my cap really. He didn't really look that good on offense all game, so I decided to punt. I stick with it. I think it was the right move.
It definitely was because you were able to end up winning that 27-22. Now you're moving on to the finals, but you have to sit and wait for the other semifinal to get done. What was that wait like, and were you doing anything during that time?
Yeah, so especially in that game where Clef and Gucci played, Gucci actually smashed his controller first drive of the game, which it delayed the game 45 minutes. So I was waiting around for close to 2 hours. So it was actually really hard just staying warm. I didn't want to play too much I didn't want to like overwork myself in between games. So I just kind of chilled around, walked around the house, just get my mind clear. But yeah, 2 hours in between games is tough for real.
Yeah, definitely. And now you're in the finals. You're going up against Clef the God, who's in his 10th major against your first. And it starts out the exact same way as the previous one with the tip pick. What did you think was like, oh, deja vu?
Yeah, so again, I'm gonna like I got to keep saying this, but the film study. So I watched him play Gucci in the game right before, and I noticed when he motioned out his receiver to the right side like that, I knew he has this little route that he likes to do, where he throws it up, he tries to aggressive catch it. But so I had a preset adjustment going into the game. I said, all right, this is what I'm gonna do first play. I like what this every if he's gonna do this, I'm gonna do that kind of one of those things, and it actually worked. He threw it up, ball went right into my hands, and it really set the tone.
It was a great final match. I mean, it was the highest scoring MCS major final in history. And for a while there, it felt like y'all were just going back and forth, trading big play after big play. What's it like being in one of those back and forth games with so much on the line?
Yeah, no, it's exhilarating because like in the time you're playing the game, you just kind of forget everything that's going around. You're just so dialed into the game. It's like a chess match. It's just like, okay, he's doing this, I got to do this. It's just back and forth, and it was one of the most exhilarating man games I've ever played.
Yeah, it was a great game. And in this game, you know, your offense had mainly been passing based in the first two games, but in this one, CJ2K came alive and he was really your MVP in that one. Was that another thing that you had seen in film study that there was a weakness there in his run defense, or was he just finding the holes and breaking loose?
So I think I really started getting CJ2K going in the second half because he came out in a different defense, a dollar. He has three down linemen instead of four. So I noticed that, and I know a couple runs that gash it pretty well. So I just kept going to those, and he kept giving it up. And he actually made a really big play coming out of half with that touchdown, and he kept moving the pile the rest of the half. So yeah, no, he was huge.
At what point does it start to set into you that I'm going to win this game. I am going to win a belt. I'm going to be an MCS champion.
It really settled in. It really settled in. I think I was up 10. He had the ball with like a minute left. And it was like he just got an intentional grounding. So it was like 30 and 25, 58 seconds. I'm like, all right, I think this is it. And I shocked. I got to pick the next play. And I was just like, it really just everything came back to me after that play, really.
You know, it was amazing. And again, you now are the youngest person to ever win an MCS major. Did you do anything fun to celebrate that afterwards?
That night I didn't because I had school the next day, so I couldn't really do anything. But we went out on the weekend. It was fun. It was just the way we celebrated. It was just one of the best weekends of my life, really.
That's amazing, man. You absolutely deserve it with such an incredible performance like that. So you mentioned you are still in school. You're only 17 at this point. You mentioned on the broadcast that before the tournament started, that some colleges had actually reached out to you about possible esports scholarships and such. Has that continued ever since you've won it? Have you heard any more from any places?
Yeah, nah, it's only gotten better. I've heard from multiple different schools. I got some Zoom meetings coming up with different directors talking about what they have to offer and all that. So it's just really a blessing of like what comes to offer in this type of esports world nowadays, where you can go to college for what you really want to do. So it's sick.
Yeah, those are some awesome opportunities. So Thanksgiving is this week. How much are you going to be bragging at the dinner table that you just won $75,000 in an MCS belt?
Yeah, no. So the whole family's coming over, watching the Cowboy game. It's gonna be crazy. My whole family's so supportive of me. So my cousins were blowing up my phone after I won. So it's gonna be crazy. I'll be bragging a little bit, I'll probably have the belt right on the top, right in the middle of the table. But yeah.
Heck yeah. And so you are a huge Cowboys fan. Your name is Dez, named after Dez Bryant. How do you feel about how the Cowboys are playing right now? Big win last week against the Vikings.
No, I think we looked amazing last week. I was a little iffy after that Packers game 2 weeks ago after we choked, but this week really proved to me though we have a shot to win it all.
All right. So, one final question here as we wrap things up. Again, thank you so much for being on here with us. As we look towards the future, because of course, this isn't the end for you. MCS, we still have the Ultimate Wild Card and the Madden Bowl coming up in the months ahead. What did you learn from this experience in your first major and making such a deep run to winning it all that you think is going to help you in future tournaments?
What I learned in this tournament, really the biggest thing is just not be nervous. There's no reason to. When you have a whole group of people supporting you behind you, it really doesn't really matter what the outcome is, win or lose. I think I was so nervous the first week versus K-Mac, and compared to the second week, I really settled in. That's the biggest takeaway I'm going to take into Madden Bowl, and hopefully for Ultimate Wild Card is that just don't be nervous and play my game.
Yeah, definitely. You have no reason to be nervous now. You are officially one of the best Madden players in the entire world. And I think a lot of people are going to have their eye on you going forward, man. Thank you so much for being here. Let the people at home know where they can find you, where they can follow you and stuff on social media and such.
Yeah, no. So my platform on Twitter, I'm at Des805 with two Z's, Twitch Des805, and really all my other platforms is Des805. So yeah, if you want to follow me, those are my handles.
And we'll, of course, have links to all those in the description of this video. But that's going to wrap things up for us here, folks. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see y'all in the next video.